Well, my name is Tim Williamson. I got my first licence, my private licence in America when I was 18, and I got my commercial when I was 19, and I've flown in Papua New Guinea, so I've got a Papua New Guinean commercial licence as well. I'm in the process of changing those licences into an Australian one at the moment, and my last training flight actually ended up in an interesting situation. Took off, everything was beautiful. It was a Cessna 172, so very good aircraft, very capable, good strong little plane. And we flew over the hills, did some practice turns out in the training area, and decided to do a practice emergency landing. And halfway through the emergency landing, the instructor said to push on a bit of power and just warm the engine up, because if you idle for too long while the cold air is rushing over, it's not too good for an engine. So I went to put a bit of power on and there was no power. Thankfully, we were practicing emergency landings and I was lined up in a field ready to go. And when we were meant to go around and hit the power, the aeroplane just said, no, sorry, the propeller was spinning, but there was no thrust through the engine. So we had about 10 seconds to get the aircraft sorted, and then we landed in a paddock, and that was, yeah, quite an adventure, that was. When we made that emergency landing, time really seemed to slow down. When you're training and when you've got a bit of experience as well, you've done checklists and you've done the procedures so many times that it becomes second nature. So when we were able to land in the field, we'd picked the perfect field. There was an access road close by, and as I was lining up that field, I thought, if we were to have an emergency, it'd be the perfect place to actually land a plane, to have access to it. And yeah, little did I know at that stage that we'd actually be needing that. When we landed and touched down in the field, it was quite soft. It had been recently cut back, so the crop was gone. We were very fortunate in that respect, but there were still lots of rabbit holes and things that we had to steer around a little bit to make sure that we weren't going to drop the plane into a hole. When it came to a stop, the instructor and I, we just looked at each other and smiled and just had to laugh. It was funny because we were practicing an emergency landing, we were practicing and training for exactly that situation, and switched all the switches off, got out of the plane, took a few selfies with it, and walked off and called a friend to come and pick us up. About a week later, we went back with a team of people to try and get the aeroplane going again, but it wasn't going to go. So we took the wings off, made it as light as possible, put everything onto a couple of trailers and towed it back to the airport. So the biggest takeaway I can get from this incident is always know your aircraft, always know the numbers, and follow the procedures. Because then you're going to be set up in the best position to be able to control whatever outcome is coming your way. With flying training and with flying, it's constantly drilled in about checklists, using the procedures, and I can't speak highly enough for knowing the numbers and following the actual procedures to fly an aircraft. You just never know. You never know what you're going to come up with aircraft. And hopefully the skies are blue and the sun's always shining. This episode of Aviator Diaries has been brought to you by Adelaide Aviation. Check them out at adelaideaviation.com.au.